Say it starts. The speech it started. They all insert like.
It's recording right now.
Oh, you mean
No, there's plenty of them. Hey,
just remember, she's got her phone.
hungry again? You just ate.
How are you, honey? He had it on the, he had it on the computer. They don't want to leave off. They're right up there on the next
Say hello real quick.
Yeah, smile. Sissy, smile. Down here. Okay, so you got your phone. Everybody else is watching this.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be watching this too.
You had to get up real hard and catch it. Hey, guys, how are you? So, are you working? Where are you now? Just one, I heard some dogs.
It's called you. Well, I could afford it. You want to try it? Said whoever. Say your name.
I knew you were saying that. Working 5 days a week. What about me and
Okay. Hi, Julie.
Say hi. Hi.
It's about to start. Ustream.tv/channel and then all/events.
Wow, let me try to finish
Hey, you know it'd probably be easier if I just take a picture?
Yeah.
And then just send it.
Let me try to get back. I'm on break. Yeah.
Focus. How do you focus?
You might not focus. Does it look? Is it unreadable or is it?
Oh, wait. There you go. Well, kind of.
That's okay. Sure. I have a Mac, so do it on Mac.
It's just like if you can go to YouTube. So, if you can go to YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I should have brought a stick to college. I'm off until Saturday, but I had to work midnight, so I got off Monday morning, and I ended up staying
K-Box 102.5 is Mike Rogers with a big gracious welcome. Thank you for coming out and supporting our city government. We have great people here today. We're just most of my job. I think all of my job is they're going to take the battle of our city government. April the 5th is the election. And we already have some folks in the audience. I believe, do we have city councilors who are serving now that won't be on the stage? We want to say thank you. How about Greg Anderson? Where's Greg Anderson? There he is. Greg has taken on a giant responsibility. He too has a job. Mayor. And if you just sit down and talk with him a little bit about what goes on in our city government, you'll think it's okay, without further ado, a little short summary of what's going to go on here. We also have city councilor races, 2 of those, and we've invited the city councilors and their opponents to come talking to us for 3 minutes, just an introduction of what they've been doing, what they intend to do, and what they see inside the city. And then we'll move on to mayoral candidates, and not a debate. We've asked each one of the candidates to submit a question. All 3 will answer. We'll move in order from Chad over to Nancy in order who answers first on each question. They know which order they are. But so they'll have 3 minutes to answer those questions. Then we'll move on to the questions that you, the public, have been listening over the last couple of weeks to send into the newspaper. We got a bunch of them. What we did is we went down a panel. My good friend here is President of the Chamber, Bill Bean, and Jimmy Stevens, Executive Director, countless hours. Went through all of those questions. We didn't change the word zone, but we narrowed it down to a dozen questions because there's a lot of pieces in there. The candidates have no idea what those questions are, other than being involved in the city. They have a good idea, but we'll be a challenge to see how they answer, and we're really thankful for you coming here today. So without further ado, I want to get Sean. She's got some housekeeping.
Everyone here tonight, and we have a few things to go over. This time I'm going to ask you to turn off all the phones to your silent. And for anyone with little ones, this is going to be an hour and a half long, so we want to remind everyone where the rest of the cafeteria is. We appreciate everyone that has turned in questions, and we're going to try to get through them as quickly as possible. So we would ask you to hold pause to the end of the forum. The speeches are going with the same. Questions that we have will be posted on the Facebook forum. We invite the candidates to meet you there with their answers. This online discussion will open up at 8 a.m. in the morning with any questions that didn't get asked tonight that will be there. So all the candidates over the next 2 days. Friday. This page will be monitored, but we're going to reserve the right to remove the slanderers from the page. And we look forward to everything you have to say tonight. So at this time, we'll get started, and Mike's going to introduce the city council candidates.
Okay, so tell us what's been going on. Ward 2, Marshall.
date. It will take care of our future needs. In fact, generators, in case power goes off. Our sewer plant we're presently working on. We're going to try to get it up to the same standards as our water plant, and that should be completed within the next year or so. Our next project, and we're still working on it now, we replace some infrastructures on our water lines, sewer lines, and manholes and things like that. So time we have all this water sewer things ready. Our airport grade has been completed, so we're ready for business at the airport. Our industrial park is what they call industrial. It's ready. It's red dirt ready is what they call that. We're ready for industries to come in. We've accomplished that. Our fire department. In the last few years, we've fully equipped. We have all the equipment. We now need to work on expanding the buildings so that we can hold our equipment. Our fire department is fully equipped and now it's fully staffed. We're in the process of working on the project where we can relocate the police department. Our public works department probably some work. We've got some new equipment for them this year. They're short-handed. They need more equipment, and we need to work on that project. We're going to need more equipment and more staff to do a better job. So that's what we're working on. All these things I'm mentioning, as you know, is things we've completed and stuff we're working towards. Okay, moving right along. Citizens, just later this year, I think will have an opportunity to vote to extend the half cent that we already have. This tax will extend for another 10 years, and that will enable us to repay roads that did not get paid in the first 10 years. We'll also get some money in there for refixing some of the damaged areas throughout our street. Besides doing all that, we suffered 2 storms and a snowstorm. And on all 3 of those projects, we got our town cleaned up in a record amount of time. FEMA completely reimbursed us 100%. I recently talked to a local banker. A few minutes. Just a few minutes. Okay, let me finish. The local banker said that that he felt like the city was in the best financial shape it had been in over 20 years. He was excited about doing business. Several things that I think was developed since that has helped create some industry and stuff. All the work that we've been doing. And that starts from the ice plant, the Eufaula Coast development, the 40 new senior housing out west of town, the Best Western, the T. McDonald construction building, the new pharmacy, the drive-in, we're getting a new Subway sandwiches, we're getting lake developments, there's been storages built. I don't have time to do, but it all boils down to security, the council. We all have to work together and to get this common goal, to bring people who want to help in our country, in our city. And the mayor candidates, I want you to know that I am willing to work and will work with who is our next mayor. And the only way I can do that is I need your vote on April 4th. I need your vote on April 4th. And let's keep Eufaula moving forward. Thank you.
There's Marshall Ward. Pruitt, excuse me. From Ward to Beverly, Ravallo. If you want to come up here and talk for 4 or 5 minutes, that's fine. We need 30 seconds from the timekeepers, okay? But it's not fine, 30 seconds, okay? And that means you have 30 seconds.
Keep it short. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. This is new to me. My name is Beverly Roboto. I am seeking a seat on the City Council Ward 2. I will be able to admit that this will not be an easy job. Some of it will asking questions. I now have experience with some of the other council members. And quick to learn. For the past couple of years, I have attended council meetings and have voiced my concerns, sometimes louder than I should. But by facing our current issues and problems with a positive attitude and resolutions, then we can move forward to make Eufaula great again. As a member of the City Council, I will work diligently with the citizens of Eufaula, other council members, mayor, chamber of commerce, businesses, and other city departments to make Eufaula a better place to live, work, go to school, and visit. By serving on the City Council, this will allow me to be a voice for the residents of Eufaula. I will listen to your concerns, and if at all possible, work towards a resolution with our city leaders. With my voice, you will be heard. It is hard for me to take no for an answer, but it can be done. You tell me it can't be done, we'll find a way to get it done. Not everyone wants to hear the truth, but this is something I promise. Some people are offended by my straightforwardness and honesty. For those people, I do not mean to offend, and I apologize in advance. Transparency and local government and accountability for actions is what the citizens of Eufaula are demanding. This can only be accomplished through honesty and integrity. We all know Eufaula's certain problems are growing rates, unemployment, overlay before we fit in infrastructure, trash, storm sirens before our storm shelters, building annual shelters so we can take back the building intended for recycling, and the list goes on. We need to listen to our children and find out what their needs are. These things can happen overnight and they will take time to fix, but they are fixable. Then this will allow me the time to research ways to help the city through grants, etc. I have the time and desire to be involved in the day-to-day operations of our city. I will not sit on the sidelines and be blindsided at council meetings. I am asking for your vote, but no matter who you support, please remember to vote on April 5th. Voting is your voice. Thank you.
And now with the Ward 4 incumbent, Claire. 30 minutes is not long enough. I'm going to write 30-second commercials. Clarence?
This is what we need for community action. I'm Clarence Pierce. Most of you know me. I'm not going to stand here for 3 minutes and tell you about what we have accomplished. I'm going to talk about what I think we need to work on tomorrow. The public needs to be more involved in our operation. Our operation needs to be more transparent. The city government should know what we do, when we do it. This is one of the things, if I'm re-elected, will be one of my priorities. My second priority is water. Working on programs with good drinking water and to put grants that will make this come about. This is something that has to be done. This is one of my priorities. My third priority is infrastructure. We have a base of infrastructure that was developed in 1964. Sometimes we rewrite it. before we get into that stuff, definitely has to be educated. But what we've got to do, how much it costs, what we're going to do. Infrastructure means your water lines, your sewer lines. We've done quite a bit in the last few years. Now it's coming to process again. We still have to work on the streets. But infrastructure is going to be a major problem for us in the next 10 years, this next decade. And it's got to be addressed soon. Now, I'm not worried about 3 minutes. I had the fortune of doing today. So I want to appreciate what you talking about in the past. It's all about tomorrow for me. I appreciate your support. If you see people working, I will work with you. I've enjoyed serving on the council in the past. Who else is like that? I will support them. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
And I guess there it is. For
The question I've been asked a lot is why I want to run for the city council. I believe Eufaula needs a better public image and better accountability. The simple truth is I have lived in Eufaula for 29 years. This is over half of my life, and I am volunteering to help govern this city. We need more people governing our local county and city who have backgrounds in educated and well-studied decisions. I have been writing grants continually over 15 years. This means organizations can receive money if they qualify. The government, other nonprofits, and foundations. I am not one of your wealthier members in this community. I am one of your more educated people living here. My father taught me, wealth is not always stuff I make you have. I have chosen Eufaula as my home. I was raised in a simple home in Tonka with my parents and 5 siblings until I was 12 and we moved to Brinkley, Arkansas. I graduated from Brinkley High School and later earned 2 college degrees from Arkansas. The first time I worked in public service was at the City Hall in Brinkley during the summers as a work-study student. The city had a city manager of government. The next public service opportunity was as a staff artist at the Arkansas State University Museum. Here I learned about state budgets and physical years in June 30th. I worked at the museum almost 4 years. Since 1994, I have been a teaching artist working independently through Oklahoma and Arkansas Arts Council, both our state agencies. I have worked in over 100 schools, libraries, towns, and museums, getting first-hand knowledge about successful community projects. I currently work as a teaching artist at Clinton High School and as executive director of the Eufaula Area Arts Council Incorporated. These experiences have been valuable lessons in coordinating successful community projects in Eufaula. I have helped form many community collaborations in Eufaula with diverse groups such as Eufaula Chamber of Commerce, Eufaula Indian Community, Creek Nation Eufaula Indian Boarding School, Creek Nation Summer Youth Program, Eufaula Memorial Library, Eufaula Public Schools, Eufaula Youth Soccer, foundations, private businesses, and lots of individuals and artists. I did this to help a better community for you and all families to live in. The simple truth is we can build better government. I think I can help. I would appreciate if you would invest your vote of confidence in me to be a city council trustee April 5th. Thank you.
Glenna McBride, and also running for incumbent is Boyd Pierce. Smith, excuse me. Put that line too close to Clarence.
Eufaula is a sustainable community committed to building its future while preserving its treasured assets. It is a family-oriented community, values community, natural resources, and rich history. Eufaula is friendly, and inclusive. It is characterized by excellent schools, safe and attractive neighborhoods, diverse cultural, recreational, and employment opportunities, quality public services, a strong infrastructure, a vibrant economy, and active involvement with all its citizens. I'm Floyd Smith. I'm running for the City Council, Ward 4. I appreciate your vote. This statement I just read is from Eufaula, Alabama, developed with a strategic plan at Auburn University, helping them over an 18-month period for long-term planning to make their community better and more prosperous place to live. I think that's what we need to do here. And we have the schools we can follow them to do it. I know I had up on 10,000 business at a business class for people to come down, evaluate our business, give ideas on what we can do. We can do the same thing here. We can have a long-term plan, goal, mission, and a statement. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate your vote.
Floyd Smith. And now on to our mayoral candidates. We have three, because we have a dozen other questions to get to tell us more about you, okay? So we'll hold that down so that we can fit the airtime. By the way, I have to legally ID K-Box 102.5, KTC, you follow the counts. Running for mayor of Eufaula, here's Matt French.
Hello. Appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Had a lot better turnout considering the weather that I thought was going to be here, so appreciate everybody coming out. As you know, people that don't know, I'm Chad Edge. I'm running for office of mayor. I'm starting to use my forum, also to NDM, K-Fox Radio, and the Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this event. The last time I ran 4 years ago, BP&W is the one that put it on the course, and that's my name clear to get. So I appreciate well these people that do this. I also want to thank my family, my wife, 28 years, and my kids for supporting this campaign. It takes a lot of time to run an office. You know it takes time. They support me 100%. I'm a lifelong resident of Eufaula, where I attended and graduated from Eufaula. I have 3 children, a daughter-in-law, and a brand new grandbaby, my firstborn, so I'm pretty excited about that. I worked for the city of Eufaula as a state certified police officer and have been since 1985. I'm also a volunteer firefighter with Eufaula and have been since 1998. I've served the community with great pride since I started, will continue to do so. My plans for Eufaula are some of Mr. Harrison already continue that progress they've already started, and have a few new ideas of myself. But our infrastructure is most important. In order for Eufaula to grow, we've got to be able to support the businesses that come in with our infrastructure. As I mentioned before, I understand that the half-cent sales tax coming up again this year. We really need to vote on that and prove that in order to keep our roads going. There's a lot of laws. You know every bump, every pothole, everything you hit, you know it because you hit them streets several times. The second thing is to improve drinking water. You know, our drinking. I know the people like to walk, especially whenever it's good weather out. And I'm able to do that safely without tripping over a broken sidewalk or a sidewalk that's moved up just over. Also need to look at replacing some of our hydrants in the fire department. It's allowed me to know that we've had several fire hydrants, enough pressure in some of the areas, and some fire plugs just don't even work at all. There's several other things I want to go over, but unfortunately, there's not enough time. Maybe I can answer the rest of them or put those comments on Facebook tomorrow. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you guys today, and thank you for coming.
These are 3-minute just introductory statements here by each of the candidates for mayor of Eufaula, and then we'll get on to probably a dozen questions. We'll put a time limit on it tonight of 8:30. We don't get all the questions. You don't get on Facebook. Just go to Indiana tomorrow. Running for mayor, Salina Jane Dornan.
Good evening. First of all, I do also want to thank you, the audience, for coming out tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity given by the organizers to have the chance to answer questions for you. Most of you know me, and a lot of you may remember me as Salina Wood. And before I went off to college, I spent the last years of my high school education right here in the halls of this building, the great EHS. You know, I chose the colors maroon and white for my campaign signs because it's a reminder of the pride that we have in Maroon County. It's that same pride that I want to carry forward for our city. Even though some of you have moved here from other places, you still know what it's like to be an Ironhead. Coach Paul Bell used to tell our football players, when you lead, you bleed through. Even our school song said, when you die, you're Ironhead dead. Pride. You know, when I was reading the Indian Journal, there was always a banner across the top that Mary Rule said, to have pride in, be proud of all, make you all proud of you. That's what I want to do for you and for Eufaula. The place that I was born and raised, where I started a business, where I got married, and that I always called home in my heart. I'm glad with this. I'm not going to make a lot of promises to you that I may not be able to keep. I will make every effort to address each and every concern to the best of my ability, to research all revenues for funding and keep an open mind to all suggestions, to keep it to the basics. Beautiful downtown, bustling shoppers, decent streets without chuck codes all over town, safety and protection for all of our citizens, clear water that you're not afraid to drink, opportunities for our young people and our elders, revenues to the city through economic development and tourism. But most importantly, jobs for our citizens and for our young people, so that there will be a future for Eufaula and for those that's going to carry it forward. I will pledge to keep the people informed with much needed transparent government. I will work with the City Council and all departments to find solutions to our needs. I'm involved with and I will work with our local civic organizations and communities and communicate with the local businesses to establish needs and concerns and to create the foundation needed to move this great ability forward. Together, we can put the truth behind that speaks. Pride creates progress. Thank you.
We're going to have a hard decision. Run Mayoral Debates.
Speech, but I was just going to give you a little history about me. My dad was a public accountant, bought a practice here. I married when I was about 3, graduated in 1975 from Paula. Was ranked fifth out of 107 in our class. Something you may or may not know about me is I also married my junior year, had a baby, and still graduated with good grades. I worked. I was married to Relly McIntosh at the time. We had 4 children, Spencer, Tyler, Eli, and Sue, that many of you may have gone to school with. They all graduated here. Decided to move back here and raise our kids because we thought it was the best place. It's the place we grew up in, and we loved it. And go on to have good careers. But I only have one who's still close because of the job issue. And I think we all see that our children are smart, they're talented. You come up here and you see some of the scores they get on their ACTs. Now, we have some outstanding people and some outstanding teachers teaching. But they unfortunately can't come back here and find jobs. I know that this is issues that all communities are facing. We're all struggling. We're all fighting for the same jobs. And I want my children back here. I want to see all my children right here. But unless we bring some business in here, it's not going to happen. And the Megastar thing, you know, that was a project that our people were completely unfamiliar with at the time. And it was a very harsh learning curve, and they learned a very big lesson from it. And about a year and a half into the project, they came to me and they said, we're getting these payments from, you know, these bond people. We don't know what these say. Could you please summarize this and put it in a form that we understand? So I spent about a week, about 12 hours every day. I tried to have this ready for the council, read the issue, summarized where all of the initial money went through a year and a half of statements, which were very hard to read. I understood why they couldn't read them. Every entry in there was at least duplicated, and most of it was 4 times. I mean, it was crazy stuff. But I put it all in a format that the city government could read. And until all that, they didn't know that they didn't have enough money left to finish that project. And that's where education comes in. Being able to read and understand legal terms. You know, I read contracts, the management contracts were in place at that time, which was a large issue in not finishing that project. And I think the education and the financial knowledge is what sets me apart. So I appreciate your time.
I'm going to let Sean put these questions out. These questions were submitted by each one of the candidates in no particular order. So who wants to know one question, but they'll all get a chance to answer. We'll start with Chad, and then, like I mentioned earlier, Chad will move to Salina. The next question you'll answer first, and then to Nancy, you'll answer that question first. So Chad, now everybody's answering this question. Chad, you're first. What is the name of our form of city government? What are the duties of mayor and city council?
We're in control of where the mayor makes all of the decisions with the council.
There's no correct or wrong answer here. That's your answer. And the line, what is the name of our form of city government, and what are the duties of the mayor and the city council accordingly?
Okay, thank you. That's a good question. There are different forms of government in Oklahoma, and the government that you fall is under is called a aldermanic form of government, and it's actually called a weak mayor government. However, it does not mean that the mayor is weak. And it's from the voters. You have a mayor that presides over the council meetings, and
then you vote, the city council clerk, the treasurer, and then works with the council.
Finished?
Yes.
Nancy, what is the name of our form of city government, and what are the duties of mayor and the city council accordingly?
Well, since this was the question I presented, I probably am more prepared for this answer. Just so you know, you get on these wild questions, but it is an aldermanic form of government. The mayor is not considered part of the council, even though he presides over the meeting. He doesn't count toward the quorum. He doesn't get to vote. Part of his responsibilities are to supervise and control all administrative departments, agencies, officers, and employees, prepares the annual budget to submit to the council for vote, is responsible for the administration of that budget, and he also advises of the financial condition and the future needs of the city. The actual title for the mayor under the form of government is called Chief Executive Officer. That's the title they use for mayor. Not for ceremonial purposes, yeah, seen as the main person. But actually, it's your city council that is your governing body. And they make all the decisions, they sign the contracts. They have to authorize the mayor to do. As we said last night at the city council meeting, a mayor can't sign a contract. They can't make decisions for the city. It's their responsibility to do all the work needed for the council to be able to make an informed and educated decision. And that's the true duties of the mayor.
Okay, these are also the questions submitted by the candidates, and this one will go to Salina first and then to chat. The city of Wallace population is continuing to grow. If you are elected, what's one thing your administration will do to continue to lure people to the city? And what experience do you have that would enable you to move you forward? Salina?
Thank you. It's good to know the city is growing, and that's going to bring more tax revenue to our city. The more people that move here, of course, our tax revenue will go. That's what our city depends on, is tax revenue. As mayor, I'm going to go out and find every avenue to bring in new economic development. As a council representative for Creek Nation, I do that now. I'm always looking for economic development. I've been working for the last 3 or 4 years just trying to look at things that we can do in our area. As council rep for the Mayoral District, this is an important area to me. We have one of the poorest areas in Oklahoma. And so we're always looking for the jobs, for the revenue, and as your mayor, it's going to be important. And so we need to also bring tourism back. And that's not not by taking away from our local, but to bring tourism dollars. And we have to do something to attract them. So tourism in itself is not development. So as mayor, I want to look at every avenue that we can to bring in not just jobs and not just tourism, but we have to do things to attract them, like create foundations for our city, the infrastructure, the water, look for activities that will attract people, today with technology, there's so many avenues, there's so many needs to follow, and it's a long road ahead, but I'm willing to do that job and to every avenue.
Mike, could I request the question again? It's 2 parts, right?
Yes.
One part is,
The city of Eufaula's population is continuing to grow.
Yeah.
If you're elected, what's the one thing your administration will do to continue to lure people to the city?
okay.
Then you want the second.
Okay. The first thing we have to do is fix the wastewater issue. We literally, at this point, we can't go out, and if we had somebody who wanted to come in here right now and put a big plan, our sewer is at, we couldn't even have them who wanted to come here right now. And that's why these projects that Marshall Peru is talking about, long projects, this is something that's going to be handled quickly. We've got to get this wastewater issue handled before we can bring any new business in here, and that's just the plain truth. And so that's the most important thing we have to work on now. So going forward, as we can solicit new business to come in, that's what we will do once we have the ability to do that. As far as the DP plant, we've got that building down there. I talked to Mike about it. I said, what are you going to do with that building? And he said, hey, you find a buyer, we'll get a good deal on it. So, we do have buildings here that if we can find the right industry that can be able to use that property, that maybe we could bring some jobs here. And so, trying to fill the current buildings we have would be but working on the infrastructure has to be an issue to get business in this area.
Chad, the city of Eufaula Foundation is continuing to grow. If you are elected, what's the thing that your administration will do to continue to lure people to the city?
Well, we think people come here because of our small town quality of life that we have here. People want to move here. The big city life, they want to come here when you go to accommodate them. We're definitely working with the city council to bring that change here, work with scout grants, any financial support that we get to bring here to make these businesses thrive. Every business here, so our kids can stay here, so people will be attracted to this place. I also want to beautify our city a little bit. I know there's people already that is working to keep our trash picked up around here, and I commend them on that. That's a job. We need to do that. Also to be able to recycle that trash. And that's what we do. I know it's not being done tonight. That's something we use to be here. We need to be able to make our public safety and proactive law enforcement a priority. That way people feel safe whenever they move here and decide to make this their home.
Would it enable you to move Eufaula forward?
Well, as a CPA, of course, I have a financial background. I understand. I can look at the financial statement. I understand the details that were the figures in the financial statement. I know how to administer the budget, which is part of the mayor's job to make sure everything is within the budget. The audit was presented last night, and it was a clean audit. And so the city's doing a good job. Our employees are doing a good job, or it wouldn't be such a conflict. Very sure about that. Discuss the modified cash basis that is being used. I'm sure most people there didn't really know what that meant. She did a very good job of explaining it. But I've had experience in all different industries all through my career, from ranching to manufacturing, retail, service industry, health industry. They bring their contracts to me to read. Before they engage with me, I'm used to reading legal terminology. I won't say I understand everything about it, but I am used to reading hard to read documents, and what I don't understand, I go to the lawyer. But I have the experience with contracts, financing, bonds. I know all about that already. I don't have to learn that part of it. There are some things I will need to learn, and I have the ability to learn. I think I proved that from the education and the study I've put in my life so far.
and sisters that have owned successful businesses of their own. I've been around that my whole life. So I know and understand the workings of a small business. I haven't owned my own business, but I've been around it. I've served the city for 15 years here, and I've gained a knowledge over that 15 years of our city government works. And currently president of our board of police, which I negotiate with the city. We go back and forth with our police department in the city of Utah. My experience that I bring to the table is those things. I'm willing to learn. Whenever I started as a police officer, I didn't know much about police work. It's quite a bit different when you get here in the street. When you're out here in the winter, snow, we're out 24/7 to community as best as we can. So I guess I'm able to communicate also.
What experience do you have that enables you to move forward?
Thank you. Well, as you know, I have a business here. I started a business from scratch, and when I did, I didn't know in a small town if it would handle it. But I stayed in there, and I kept working it, and I now have built it up to 3 businesses. I added employment and tax revenue to the city. I think importantly is my experience with legislative work, governmental functions, economic development, fundraising, promoting, understanding and conducting businesses, a business meeting. I have written grants. I have built contacts on the state, the federal, and several different tribal governments. I have been attending the chamber council meetings, and just to be able to really get a grasp of what's going on with our city, to understand our needs and our concerns. I really feel that, as he mentioned earlier, that the mayor is a CEO. As the CEO of my company, I understand finances, budgeting, working with employees, working with the public. The mayor is a figurehead for the city. So PR is real important, and just to be able to get out and make contacts on all levels, because we're going to be looking for funding. Grants are real important because those grants are not going to be able, so we need to sit down now to be able to look after ourselves in the future. And I just think that experience, my life experience, that I could handle the job. Thank you.
And those were all the questions that candidates themselves for each other to answer. These are the questions that I asked the public to answer. Is this more than one question? Okay, so it's a definition of question. This one goes to Chad first. Public access to a popular cabinet except fish dock lot, the development of Yellowstone Park, shoreline near parking areas was fenced by the same concessionaire. This area was funded by senior citizen children. Will your administration negotiate with Yellowstone and the Corps of Engineers if necessary for public access to at least a shoreline adjacent to the public park boat ramp area?
Yes, I will. It's been made, I've been made aware that Yellowstone has the concessions on the entire cove over there and is able to do that. And I believe they entered into a contract with the city in order for them to put the fencing up and to keep people from going in there. What I would do with our local citizens that live here, going in and showing proof that they live in the city, to go and be able to fish in that area. The fence put up there to keep just the general public vibes, to go in there and slides and stuff of that nature for the kids to come in and play on it and obviously so he charges a fee for that. And if people just walk in there, then he would be losing money, would be losing tax revenue, so tax for the city. That was allowed to happen. But I would definitely look into that. I believe that we need to keep the local citizens here.
Thanks, Jeff. Salina, you understand the problem?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Will your administration attempt to negotiate with Jellystone or the Corps of Engineers to recover public access to at least the shoreline adjacent to the public parking boat ramp area?
Yes, definitely. It seems that for senior citizens, that there's not a lot of facility in the city at all, and that's something that we need to look into and to provide for citizens. One of the things that Lake Fall is known for is fishing. And senior citizens, especially those that have lived there and lived here their whole lives, this is their leisure time. This is what they enjoy, and they have other places. I know that I've heard that there's times that they have given an option to have this location, but apparently the location did not provide the fish that the other location did, because that was a good fishing hole. And having family that loves to fish, I understand this, the importance of this. But I think that with that discussion, I realize that the fence is to protect that property. They've put a lot of money and time into that property, and I understand their desire to want to protect it. And I just think that as a business owner and living in the area, they would want to work with the city, to work with their citizens, because it's all about us living together. And in the end, we're neighbors. We all shop together. We all live in the same town. And I think it's just about working together. And I think that we can reach that out and have these businesses and the Corps and to find a solution to this problem. Thank you.
Will your administration go with Jellystone, the Corps of Engineers necessary to recover public access to at least the shoreline adjacent to the public parking boat ramp area?
Well, knowing contract law, negotiations were done before the contract was signed. Anybody who's ever signed a contract knows that. So you are now bound by a contract. If there were to be a change, it would have to definitely come on his part. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say you need to be able to look at the terms of the contract and foresee the issues that will come up by what's in that contract. So, yes, I have been told about that issue about the fishing. Whether there could be any negotiation depends on what the contract says, and that's going to involve you to that. But that's where you get into, you better read the details in a contract before you put it before the contract to sign. And that's when negotiations are important.
Thanks. Again, any questions that the public submitted in the last 2 weeks to the Indian Journal office? This one is Simone. What are your plans to upgrade the outdated infrastructure, sewer, water, roads, street signs of our city?
Well, I think we've talked about this already. But I know that this has already had a plan in place, and I have been working on this. So that they have grants, and we'll continue working in this direction, working to get the infrastructure in place. I know there's talks about overlaying the roads or the streets, and this is important, but we really need to look at the infrastructure first, because there's no sense in fixing the street and then having to go back and tear it up because there are pipelines that are not working or broken or that need to be replaced. So I think that the whole situation that needs to be assessed. We need to do any type of a study that we need to do to find out which pipes need to be replaced, where we're having problems. We need to work with our plant operator and really work with our city engineer to see what they suggest and just make a plan before we just jump on because we have the bond money or because we, because we're having complaints. Again, it's to make sure that the contract is correct, that plans are laid out, and that we don't put the cart before the horse. I think that working with the council, that come up with a plan to take care of that and just continue to look at ways to fix our infrastructure, fix our streets, and our system. And with that light, then we can start looking at a brighter future.
Thanks.
Well, I want to thank Marshall Pruitt because I think he already answered that question, and it's already in place.
You have 2 minutes.
I think he moved forward with what he was doing and has already started.
Well, as the other two candidates have already said, well, I'm just going to pursue what is already in place, what the city is already working on, making sure that that goes through, and just working together with the council to make that come through for us. So, the thing is we can get these bonds. There's like a few problems right after we had the overlay last time. We got the fund money. We was having water lines break and we was tearing up new asphalt. So much money wasted, and then you've got rough roads again. So we definitely need to work towards getting those pipes fixed underneath the road. But we also need to incorporate in that. We need to talk to some engineers, whoever's worked on this project, incorporate back. What we talk to is we have to shut down either half the town or the whole town to replace these water line breaks. We need to incorporate some valves throughout the city whenever we do repair these breaks, so that we can shut off sections of the city. That way that we can, repair that and not have to everybody.
Thank you. Would you move the fireworks back to the softball field?
Well, personally enjoy fireworks at the softball field. I haven't found a good location to see them since they were moved. But from what I understand, there was an accident that happened over there where some people were hurt and volunteers, and it's been very, very serious. And I understood that part of the reason they moved it over to South Point was because it was a better surface to light those fireworks from, as long as the public safety could still be in place. These are volunteers that do visit, and it is very, well, I think we've been contracting it the last few years, but it's very dangerous to be around these things. As we've seen on the news, these plants that blow up that make fireworks. So I like to see that. That's something I'd like to put in the water ball and send out to the citizens and see what the public feels about that as a whole, as the citizens do. And then, the council people will know how their citizens feel about it and make the decision based on that.
Would you move the fireworks back to the softball field?
I agree with Nancy personally. I liked it better over there. It seemed to be more of a family event. Everybody would come and sit around the ball fields, pop their fireworks there. Never any major accidents other than the one situation. And it's also probably detonated this time. I think it has been for the last several years. So, that situation done away with. And also have so feet away from the general public from fireworks because they're huge. They're person that you go and buy on the fireworks stand. And if that is available, to do that, I would love to get it back over there. Out there, I believe, from talking to some of the people that would stand at the railroad crossings, we've lost a lot of revenue that would provide funding for the fireworks across the street. And we're creating a lot of problems that they can't hold the road anymore. So, that in, I think the code, the baseball field would be a better place. But I would like to, I'm not just going to jump in there and change it over. I would like to get everybody's opinion on their majority of it. We'll talk it over with the before they change it. Thanks.
Move to the fireworks to the softball field?
That's the question that I've been getting a lot, and I hear from a lot of our citizens that like it better. And I think that it's a choice of citizens. It should be the people what they would like. I think we need to look at all aspects of it, our insurance that's involved. I do know that the actual drivers themselves have changed now. They had problems in the past, or when they had the accident, they were using a much larger charge. They had 12-inch bullets that they used, and now the regulation is only an 8. So the regulations on it are a lot stricter now, and the safety factor is a lot better. I know that we were able to offset costs by being able to have people, volunteers at the railroad crossing that could collect donations, and that part we didn't have where we're at the past couple of years. Also, I had people complain that even at the high school or in most locations, there was so much lighting that you really couldn't enjoy it. You just didn't have the same feel that you used to have when it was the ball field. Also, people that came in their votes were not participating as much, and it was a lot more dangerous for them to try to come and view it where it's been the last couple of years. So I think it's an issue that the people really care about, or it wouldn't keep coming up, and that question would keep coming up. So it's something we really have to look into, and honestly, myself, I'd love to see it back by the ball field.
Like I'm a Chinese. Let's see. Sales tax is a crucial source of income for our city. What do you plan to do as mayor to ensure that sales tax collected by local businesses has been remitted? Chad. As sales tax is a crucial source of income for cities, what do you plan to do as mayor to ensure that sales tax collected by local businesses has been remitted?
Looking to see exactly what our policy of our ordinance is, but I do know in the past there's been a problem with the vendors that come into the city, like during the carnivals and stuff of that nature, the parades, whole hall. I've heard we have sales tax they make on people, and the visitors that come in to see the whole hog weekend or such as the carnival stuff. We need to make sure that that sales tax is collected, because without sales tax, our city suffers. We can't do things, projects that we need to do. So we need to pursue getting that taken care of.
Selina, you understand the question?
I think there needs to be a working relationship with the Vehicle Tax Commission, obviously. And I know that they have field workers that come out your businesses to make sure that you've got your sales tax posted and you're up to date. I'm surprised if anyone can get away with not estimating their taxes. I'm sure there's a little bit of ways to do that. But I know that the Oklahoma Tax Commission is pretty strict about collecting those taxes. But I guess the answer that we're really wanting is, will we do it? And of course, we need that tax revenue. don't, it is actually the state's responsibility, but I think it is a situation where we have to work together hand in hand and try to find a solution. We all hope as business owners that we pay our taxes. I know myself as a business owner, my first couple years in, that was the biggest shock, not being prepared for the taxes. And so when I set up an account to do automatically online, and for some reason there was a glitch, they were at my door. So if there's taxes to be found, then it should be able to quickly. I would hope, because it happened to me. Thank you.
Okay, as sales tax is a crucial source of income for cities, what do you plan to do as mayor to ensure that sales tax collected by local businesses has been remitted?
Well, every year, the Oklahoma Tax Commission puts out a legislative update. You can go to their homepage website, you can click on it, and it pretty well covers all areas of new legislation that was passed last year. And as I was reading through that the other day, I noticed that there is a mandate. And the mandate for cities and counties to actually go into a contract with the Oklahoma Tax Commission. In this contract, they want us to be the enforcers now of the sales tax collection, which freaking scares me. As mayor, I want to be going into my businesses, my business people, and auditing their books and making sure that they're meeting their sales tax. Because that's Oklahoma. Basically, every city and county is really responsible for collecting their own taxes. We just had a contract with the state and let them do it for us in the past. But I think because of the budget this year to the legislature, apparently they're trying to turn that back over to the cities and counties. And I was on the phone for about 2.5 hours the other day trying to get more information on this, and as I was passed around from person to person in the Oklahoma Tax Commission, I still haven't gotten a good answer. So, I don't know. That's going to be an interesting thing to see going forward, whether that will soon be the city and the county's job.
Let's see. Right? Salina. What is a concession agreement?
What is a concession agreement?
Yes.
A concession agreement is a contract that the city makes with a vendor. An example I use would be with that they have a concession contract with them. Not only with the amphitheater, they have the amphitheater, the people, they bought that. And so we have a concession contract with them in order to receive our revenues from, I don't know if I'm making that clear, to receive revenues from an event at a concert or something. So it's within the contract that the city has that concession agreement.
Nancy, what's concession agreement?
Well, as we all know, the lake area is owned by the United States government. The Corps of Engineers is the agency assigned to oversee that, and the city of Eufaula has a master lease on the shore area. And anytime you want to have any form of business on any city or government property, then you must have a contract with that city or local government. And so basically, it's the ability to run a business on property of a city or government. And that's what a concession agreement is. And once again, I want to reiterate, it's a negotiated contract. It's not a standard contract, and that's where you need to get into the details of that.
I'm
pretty well.
I was almost going to ask it like else.
A good example is what I was speaking about earlier, Yogi Berra Park over there. You know, as Nancy pointed out, you know, we looked at that a little bit closer. I don't know if I was involved in those negotiations, but I would have definitely wanted to look at that a little bit closer to be able to make sure that we're meeting the needs of citizens and allowing them to be able to get that fishing. Ever since I was sitting in high school, people's been going over there fishing, and now they're not able to do that. But I see both sides, you know, why that is. He needs to make his money to generate sales tax for you follow, so the citizens that live in will be able to enjoy that. And in his concession area of the city, you know, that he's able to do. So a concession between the bidder or the, I don't know if I can get my words right here, a business in order to work between the business and the city to whatever the it could be anything.
Nancy, what are your plans for National Guard? We require the city, will cause the city to inspect and correct problems that are not true.
Well, we learned last night at the city council meeting, and Greg, thank you so much for staying on top of that and providing us such good information on that. His latest information was that the DEQ is going to come in and clean it up. So that's good news. When that will happen, I don't know anything that happens fast in government. I don't. But for the use of the armory, I think we're going to have to see what we end up with after they remediate. You know, what are we left with? I've talked, you know, there's cities around the state who have been rebuilding these armories. And, you know, I talked with an individual in Chandler who was very involved in that. And the issues he brought up were they had to replace the roof, all the windows. It was very expensive to heat and air. He said, you know, if you can build a new building, you'd be better off. But we will find a use for it. And that's an issue once we get all of the information, the cost of what it would do to turn it into a public access as opposed to maybe using it for our maintenance facility or to store some of our police cars or fire equipment. You know, once we get information on that, and we put it to the citizens with the water bill and see what they have to say about it. And when we know, we can make a decision.
Scott, what are your plans for the National Guard Armory if it's acquired by the city, and what do you think it will cost the city to inspect and correct any problems, i.e. toxic material?
Well, I've been told that the firing range, which is a basic military use for a firing range, has been contaminated with lead over the years of being used as a firing range. So I believe we also use that, the city uses that as a storm shelter for the public to go to whenever there's a tornado. Nobody has, you know, people that live here have a place to go. The city opens that up and makes that available to them from shelter. I don't know if all that has to be cleaned up. It will be costly. But if they use it and clean that up, it'll help us tremendously. It also has been used for many years. The baseball team in bad weather, they'll go in there and practice. Inside there, we also build our floats there every year. So if that's done away with, we have that we can do our floats. Where's the baseball team going to go? And there is office space up front. It's just such an old building. Like Nancy was saying, we just have to look in and see what the cost is going to be. Because every window is just about knocked out and old and very energy efficient. So I would have to look in to see what our options would be in the building.
Thanks. What are your plans for the National Guard Armory acquired by the city? What do you think it will cost to inspect and correct?
Thank you. Well, definitely, it would probably cost a lot. But depending on what we decide to do it, what the people would like to do with it, we could look into options, grants, that sort of thing. I talked with Senator Ballinger the armory, and to ask if what the process was, and that was before we got the report last night from Greg, but and he had told me that Nevin had moved forward on it, and so after checking it out, then he found that we needed a representative from our area to write a letter to get it to the city. So he was able then to contact our new representative and provide a letter that moved it forward so that we were able to obtain that for the city because the commissioner did that as well. I remember that the windows are all bad. The shelters still are, from what I understand. There has been possibly some testing on it and found to be clean. But, that's something that I think the city would need to find out on their own to do some type of testing. Has to be done. It's a wonderful facility. It's a historic site. I do not want to see it torn down. I hate to see it used as a storage shed. I love to see it perhaps renovated so that our elders have a place to go walk outside of the rain, maybe a place for our youth to gather. But these are just all options. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but it's a possibility and it's also something we can look into.
Final question. Let's see. Chad? Eufaula currently has 3 consent orders from DEQ. How would you address these orders and fund the improvements mandated?
The orders they have.
Eufaula currently has 3 consent orders from DEQ. How would you address these orders and fund the improvements mandated?
Well, the consent decree from the DEQ was because we're out of compliance with our water. Because of funding, we were not able to provide the chemical water. We do have our plant has to contact the DEQ anytime that there's a problem. The letters that you get in mail, that standard letter saying there's a problem with our water, that has to be notified, and we can be fined if we don't notify in a certain amount of time, if we're out of compliance a certain amount of time. So there's a lot of guidelines with the DEQ. I do know that it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes if we are out of compliance, you can use that and and get a grant to help with your get back in compliance to get the problem fixed. Again, the contract you would have to negotiate. There's other things, or sometimes things that as a city you would not be able to afford to fix. So you negotiate those things within the contract with the DEQ to be able to have either extended time or to fix it to a certain level. Just for example, would be like new manholes. For an example, and if they may ask you to comply and have all new manholes put in, so then you maybe negotiate for a certain amount of time you can do that. I think that with a grant, and I know that we also got fined from the DEQ, so that Greg was able to bring that down. So.
Thank you. DEQ currently has 3 consent orders from DEQ. How would you address these orders and fund the improvements mandated?
Well, you understand a bit about our city. Our sales tax is actually supposed to be used to run our city. It's supposed to run our police department, our fire department, our administrative, our street, and the utility side, the water, the sewer, gas, is essentially supposed to pay its own bills. And we're currently using about, from what I understand, 35% of our sales tax money to fund the water department. And that's why we can't afford vehicles, and that's why we are behind on hiring people for our police force, hiring for our water department, and things like this. I think we have to come up with a plan. DEQ is going to require us, if we do not come up with the plan on how to slowly increase our water rates to take care of the chemicals to clean it, DEQ will come in and set our rates for us. And so we can't continue to keep letting this happen. We need our sales tax to run our city government. Our police need it, our fire need it, our building maintenance needs it. That's why all of our buildings are in bad shape. We're funding the utilities from our sales tax, and we're going to have to slowly, with a plan, and change that. And that's the truth.
We'll take 2 minutes each for closing statements. And we'll start with Silver Linas right here. First of all, I would be proud to have any one of you.
I think we've definitely covered a lot of things tonight. I want to again allow this time, and I want to say a special thanks to the Indian Journal, the Chamber of Commerce, and K-Fox Radio. I want to thank Chad French and Nancy Mauser for participating, and I especially want to thank you, the citizens, for showing up. I also want to thank our Vice Mayor, Greg Anderson, for the work he's doing, keeping our city going during this time. And also, I want to thank my husband for his unyielding love and support during this time. I just want to say my door will always be open. It's going to take someone strong, with a good business background, who knows how to get along with all facets of the community and make sure that he sees the progress and growth he deserves. I will never be outside the interest of providing common services for local residents. We need tourism, but we can't spend all effort promoting that at the expense of the needs of our citizens. Being able to pay our policemen, our fire protection, health, and well-being, our hard-working city employees and volunteers need to be heard and recognized. They need the resources to help them do their jobs. The Tribal Education, whose term is this year, has allowed me to make valuable contacts on the state, federal, and other tribal governments, and I can utilize that for the benefit of the city. It has put me in a better position to possibly bring economic development to our city. While serving on the council, I worked 2 jobs with no conflict. I have competent and loyal employees in business who continue to do that to help my husband. Being mayor will be my primary occupation, priority, and dedication. I value hard work, honesty, and integrity. I have a vision of growth and safety for our city. By attending the city council meetings, that's allowed me to understand our current needs and issues facing our great city. I have the business experience, the ability, the contacts, and the vision needed to do this job. Nobody do this job on their own. I need the involvement of the community, the teamwork of our city council, the city employees. I need prayers, and I need God as well. Together, we can bring the pride and progress to you all. I'm asking you to join me and vote for a new future for the city of Eufaula. Please vote for me on April 5th. Thank you.
I believe you're next, Nancy.
You know, they say you grow wiser when you grow older. And another thing I've discovered as I've grown older is I don't have all the good ideas. You know, and I've heard a lot of good ideas tonight from both Chad and Salina. I think I've brought a lot of good ideas. This job is going to be running your business, whether you know it or not. You're a stockholder in a large corporation. That's what you are. The seat is business. Your council is your governing board or your board of directors, as it's in a corporation. Your mayor is your chief executive officer, running the daily duties, doing most of the best work, so the board of directors or your council make a good decision. And you better have someone in place who understands business, understands finance, because the question comes down to, who do you want to run the big business? Get it in your hands.
And with our final closing statement, Jeff.
Thank everybody out here. It's kind of a surreal opportunity being here. I remember sitting out here in these seats. Whenever I was in school, we'd always have a guest speaker. It was Paul Bell, and he sure knew how to get you fired up before games. It's very exciting to be able to have this opportunity to serve you as mayor if elected. And I understand that the ideas that I have and the things that I want to bring to you all my own finances. It's not like these things that I have are just going to come pop in place and be done whenever I get it, if elected in office. These are things that I want to do better opportunity. And I'll seek out funding the donations, what we need, work with our council members, work with the public in order to bring these things to pass. I've been employed with Eufaula for the last 15 years. This is the opportunity to gain understanding of how our city works. I know what it takes to be employed to do the job. And some of the jobs are hard. They have to go places and do things that no one else wants to do. But they do it. That's what keeps the city running. You never know in our line of work. You know, whenever I leave for the house at night, go on my life, I make it back home. It's dedication to the city, not because of a paycheck, but because I want to make a difference. And I've served our volunteer fire department since 1990 as a volunteer. I've served there proudly. I've served this community proudly ever since I've been an employee and volunteer for this community. Risk taking dedication to our community because I want to make a difference. Where it's allowed me to help people that can't help themselves. I've served this community with integrity, pride, and honor, and if you elect me as your next mayor, I will continue to serve you with these same core values. And ask you for your vote for the county ballot for May 2011.
Time on kick off to 5. We're in the air, but if y'all are around, we'll close out with the fire and commerce. Well, being.
Thanks for coming out tonight. It was a good forum for me, and I hope it was for you also. Got to school, Ms. and her staff were very instrumental in helping us do that. We have a bright future in our community. April 5th will be time that you guys make the choice of who leads our town, and we hope you come out and vote in full form. Greg, thanks again for taking your time and leading the city in this time. City Councilman, we feel like you're doing a good job, and let's move forward and let leadership for our future. With that, we'll end the forum.
the air?